What is going on, everybody? How's it going? Welcome in to the Sactown Sports Kings recap. My name is Chris Watkins, joining you, unfortunately, after the Sacramento Kings fall to the Chicago Bulls, and frankly, a game that they absolutely should have won, not only on paper, not only because the Kings have played tons of tougher opponents before playing the Bulls tonight, not just because it makes a lot of sense for the Kings to beat a team like the Bulls. And, after coming off of one of their best wins of the season in an overtime game against the Minnesota Timberwolves, I guess it just would have been too much to ask this team to put together another good performance. It looked great for a quarter. That first quarter was terrific. Second quarter was terrible. Third quarter was a whole lot better. Ended on a pretty sour note. Mike Brown decided to run with a rotation that didn't include De'Aaron Fox or Domantas Sabonis. I thought that was pretty key just in terms of everything kind of coming to a halt. Felt like, towards the end of that third quarter, a lot of the momentum died. And then fourth quarter really was the Kings trying to hold on. And, frankly, they didn't get any late-game heroics from Malik Monk like they got the other day against the Timberwolves. And De'Aaron Fox really was quiet the entirety of that fourth quarter. Entered the fourth, I believe, with 19 points and 9 rebounds. Finishes off tonight 20 points, 10 assists. It saved the Kings tons last year, but it wasn't enough tonight. You just didn't get enough offensive production out of enough people. You had guys getting foul trouble. Keegan Murray ended up with 5 fouls. Sabonis ended up fouling out. Both teams received technicals tonight, so the referees were kind of on one. Andre Drummond had 5 fouls as well in his limited minutes, so it wasn't a clean game at all. But it's just a game that the Kings really needed to get. Again, this Bulls team is just not quality. It's a tier. It's a couple tiers below where this Kings team is, and it really doesn't get easier than nights like tonight. Especially not in this league, especially not in this Western Conference. You just have to take advantage, and it's really disappointing that we're at this point in the season and the Kings still are slipping and having inconsistencies in their performance from night to night, from quarter to quarter even. It's frustrating, man. It's really, really frustrating to come on here after every single game and talk about how the Kings, did something tonight that we didn't expect them to do or just expected something more of them. And I think at this point in the year, I'm kind of done expecting anything good from this team. Again, it feels like you get this ultimate high after a win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then to follow it up with a stinker against the Bulls back at home. You could argue it's a trap game. You could argue that this game was always meant for the Kings to lose, but it's I don't know, man. It's something that they're going to have to figure out because I think this inconsistency has to mean something. I really think that, I've been saying all year that it's good that they're at least beating good teams because, in the playoffs, you only really play good teams. But the fact that they're so inconsistent every single night, it's concerning. It's got to mean something. And I just hope that this doesn't show in the playoffs, but it's hard to not just think that this is what the identity of this team is just inconsistency. And that's really frustrating to try and deal with. A lot of weird moments tonight. Yeah, I'm seeing, just talking about the refs. So I'm bringing up the Chris Duarte tech. That was really, really strange. Not strange from the referees, just a weird decision from Duarte. It's probably going to be one that Mike Brown's going to look back, and it's going to look really, really bad on film. That's going to probably be the moment that the coaching staff is going to circle and say, look, we can't have moments like this. We can't have us kind of getting distracted and losing focus, because that's exactly what happened. Chris Duarte got chipped just a little bit with the chicken wing as he's getting screened off an inbounds. And he let it distract him in that moment. He got absolutely destroyed off the dribble from DeMar DeRozan. And then B, he picks up the tech and then gives up a point on the other end. And the Kings were up 18 at that point. It didn't seem like it was going to be a big deal, but you then look at the final result, and you can look at that as a moment where, if the Kings just kind of take care of business, add to the lead, stack it up, and don't give the Bulls momentum, maybe this game goes differently. There was also a moment where there's no blame, but there was a moment where Keegan gets that block on, I can't remember who it was on, but it was on a cutter, and Keegan pinned it on the backboard. And then immediately coming down on the next possession, it's a 4-on-5. They do exactly what you're supposed to do. Keegan just missed the three. And that was definitely a moment where I was just like, that would have been really nice. It would have been a nice dagger. I think it would have put the Kings back up 18 or 20. And again, there was just a lot of missed opportunities tonight in just a really, really strange game. I'm glad that I can say missed opportunity and not have it be about free throws. The Kings, I believe, only missed 2 free throws by the end of tonight, which we will definitely take with where they've been at points in this season. But, nonetheless, they were, I believe both misses or all of their free throw misses were all in the fourth quarter. So even then, still something that you can point at and say, you just have to be better. And that's not the reason why they lost, but it just kind of points to a greater lack of focus, lack of attention to detail that's required every single night. I mean, even against a team like the Chicago Bulls, you have to execute, and you've got to put teams away when you have the opportunity. And the fact that the Kings were up tonight by as much as 20 points, completely squandered opportunity. I believe that was 20 points in the fourth quarter. It's another really bad loss that you can throw up. It's not, I don't think it's quite on par with, the Charlotte loss or the, Portland loss, any of the really egregious, the Detroit loss. It's not to that level, but it's a level above it. And it's more just the time of the season in which they're dropping this game right now. I think I said it already. It just doesn't get easier. Like the Bulls are the 8 seed right now, or the 9 seed in the East. Coming up, the Kings have to play the Lakers twice this week. Not that that's really a problem, but again, more just to show that if you can't get it done on a night where, the Bulls were pretty down, Zach LaVine obviously didn't play. There was somebody else who was key to their. Patrick Williams has been out for a good portion of the season. Torrey Craig not out there tonight. They're not at 100%. Kings were at 100%. There's really just no excuse. I mean, there is absolutely no excuse for them to just not capitalize, because it was right in front of them. You had to know that Chicago was going to make a run at some point. But I think that's really the thing that this team needs to fix coming out of the other side of that players only meeting is every team, it doesn't matter if you get up, you're going to make a run. The other team is going to respond. It's how you respond to that run that really determines that's the real test. Everyone is great as a front runner, but when you face some adversity, how do you respond? How quickly can you put that fire out? Or does it just continue to burn you all night long, and then things kind of spiral from there? Too many times you see that be the case, and the Kings need to do a much better job of seeing them start to spiral in a moment and shut it down instantly. And it's another thing you can add to the list, but it's really, really tough. I feel really bad for Kings fans out there who are just pouring in everything they have into this stretch run, and just to get on this roller coaster. It's a nightmare, man. It is an absolute nightmare. Every single game, trying to figure out who you're going to get, because honestly, you're probably going to be right more times than not if you just say, the Kings played well. I'm kind of expecting them to take a step back, and that's not a good sign at this point in the season. Of course, they can still turn things around. I think there's 24 games or something like that left in the season. They still have time to put together a good run of games. And like I've said in the past, they do have an easier stretch of opponents in general coming up. But again, just not many are going to come easier than tonight on your home floor with a 20-point lead. With Chicago, I mean, they got no production out of their bench. They ended up with, let's see here, 6, 10, 11 points off the bench. Just for reference, Chris Duarte had 8 tonight. Malik had 11 off the bench himself. Trey Lyles had 9. Mitchell had 6. Alex Len had 4. Like, the Kings killed them in bench points. It was all DeMar DeRozan. It was all Kobe White. And just a little sprinkling of Nikola Vucevic in there too. But really, it was 2 guys who just absolutely dominated the Kings tonight. Kobe White, people have been talking about him all season long. He's had a great year. He's definitely found his game. And he has killed the Kings in the past. I might actually have to look up at some of Kobe White's Kings performances in the past, but you're going to expect Kobe White to do something, but you got to be able to slow these guys down and make it tougher for them. I mean, Kobe White and DeMar DeRozan combined for 24 of 31 tonight from the field. Unstoppable, completely unstoppable, those two. And that's on De'Aaron Fox. I think De'Aaron should have, I think a lot of that is to the Bulls were attacking Kevin Huerter quite a bit, but those are guards. And I guess DeRozan does play a bit more of a forward role, and they did have Keegan on DeRozan for a long portion of tonight, but they cooked, man. They absolutely cooked, and they made their free throws, and that was the key for them tonight. And it really, really sucks that the Kings weren't able to pull through on this one. Looking at Kobe White's performances in the past against Sacramento, this is now his 3rd 30-point game against the Kings in just a 5-year span. He's had a 36-piece. He's had a 31-piece. He's had a 20-point game the last time these two teams played, and then 37 tonight. I would definitely say tonight is his best performance, highest scoring game, most assists as well, most rebounds, and most. Oh no, he had 15 field goals in that 36-point game, so just under his king high for field goal attempts. But Kobe White loves playing this team, and you just hate to see it because, again, just a clear and obvious opportunity completely thrown away tonight. I'm seeing a lot of people. I love this. Don't talk about the game. Please don't talk about the game. I'd love to see people. How was that shortcake? Love it. Normally I would probably be upset by this and just say like, oh man, here I am trying to talk Kings. Everybody's not even paying attention to me. But this is absolutely what people should be doing is just talk. Fallout Boy was in this building 24 hours ago. My girlfriend was there. Shout out. Everyone who went to Fallout Boy heard it was a sold-out packed show. I know Bad Bunny is going to be here tomorrow. I would definitely expect to see a couple Kings in the building for Bad Bunny. Yes, this is absolutely what people should be focused on. Don't worry about this game. Don't let this ruin your night, even though it should if you give it too much power. Just wipe it off your back. This team, if you're going to ride the wave, the roller coaster that is this team this year, you're going to be sick. So just focus on all the other stuff besides actual Kings basketball, because I don't know where to go anymore. Because to be honest with y'all, like, this team is good. Like that's what makes everything so upsetting is if they were bad, I mean, I could just yell and scream about how, I told you they're bad. This is why they're bad. X, Y, Z. I would look like a genius right now. But the problem is I do truly believe that this team, there's something there. They can, if they get the right matchups, they could win 2 rounds in the playoffs. They could. I would not bet on it. I would not say that that's even close to the most likely scenario. But, you end up in a 2-7 matchup against OKC. You end up in a, maybe a 1-8 against Minnesota, or even a 3-6 against either of those two teams. You can definitely win that round. And then at that point, it's just kind of all about how you match up. And I think that there's a possibility just with the resume that this team has against good competition, they could do it. But it's nights like tonight that just poke holes in all of that, because I don't think the Denver Nuggets lose a game like tonight. I don't think OKC loses a game like tonight many times. I think Minnesota has lost a couple games like this, so I won't say them. But it just feels like this is not a game that top tier teams play. But at the same time, yeah, like I think that there's something there in this team that I just can't quit. I just can't write them off yet. And that's what I think makes them so infuriating is, the it's like a teacher in school. Like, teachers don't usually get that upset at like the kids who are always class clowns, or the kids who get F's and just slack off in class. They're just annoying. They get mad at the kids who, frankly, like me, who would get C's and probably should be getting B's, and if you really try you can get an A, but you just get a C because it's easy. You can just show up, not do homework, get a couple good grades on some tests and pass the class. Those are the kids that they get mad at, because they're like, you have so much potential, and all you have to do is just work a little bit harder to realize that potential. And I think that's what's been so frustrating with this Kings team, is that we see it. We see the glimpse of potential. We see that this team can put it together on given nights, but playoff series is best of 7, and it's not just about having one good night. It's not just about having 2 good nights. It's about how well you can perform. I mean, if the Kings want to make a playoff run for a month and a half straight, and have we even seen a week and a half straight of consistent basketball? I really don't think so. And I think that's really where this team is at, is where, wins and losses, sure. But I just at this point want to see for better or worse, because if you are a bad team, it's fine. Just tell me, just show me, but just be it for a week and a half. Just be whatever it is that you are, because I can't figure it out. And I was talking with people before the game today, a couple Kings media people, just like what do we do? I mean, it's incredibly frustrating to try and talk about this team on a daily basis when realistically, I mean, I don't think they know who they're going to be on a given night. So, yeah, I guess we'll all just sit back and wait for the real Kings to identify themselves, because it's getting, the inconsistency is getting way too predictable. And that's just not how anybody wants. It's not how fans want to live. It's definitely not how media wants to live. There's no way that's how the team wants to live. So we'll hope. That's all we can do. We will just hope that this thing stops. Short cake ones. Is this loss more on players or on coaching? I just, I guess you could say, I'm just trying to find what the angle would be for I'm finding this as maybe a flaw for myself. But I just don't naturally look at coaching when I see a loss like this. Like, I'm just trying to verbalize like my thought process here. And I guess the argument for where this is bad on coaching is that no adjustments were made, I guess, and maybe matchups. Like, you don't like seeing Keegan on DeRozan. Because I'm honestly just curious, like, what would coach, how could coaching cause this? Because turnovers. Like, I think turnovers, that's players. Missing shots, that's not on coaches. Even like decisions to shoot. Like, I don't necessarily think that, if the Kings are taking too many threes, coaches can only say, hey, let's limit them, or, unless coaches directly saying we're trying to get a certain number of threes, or we're really trying to chuck it up. I don't know how much, okay, here we go. I think this is a good leaded question to where coaching might have gone wrong. I have a question. Why was Mike Brown playing his backups the second half of the third quarter? Great question. See, that is case in point where we can point to Mike Brown maybe having a deficiency in this one, because this was weird. This makes no sense at all. Maybe it's the fact that De'Aaron was coming back from injury. That would be my only guess. But we have not seen – Mike Brown does a great job all year long of staggering Fox and Sabonis' minutes so that one of those two is on the floor at all points. Every single Kings game, De'Aaron Fox or Domantas Sabonis is on the floor 95% of the time. For some reason, to close the third quarter tonight, Mike Brown decided to go. It was Davion, Malik Monk, I want to say, was it Herter, Barnes, and Lyles? I believe they went small. It might have been Alex Len in there. Let me see here. But it was a very, very strange lineup. I finished the game with -9. I'm just looking here randomly. There's a tweet here from Securin to Bagley, who has been in these chats more than a couple times. The lineup Mike Brown finished with was a -9 in 6 minutes and 36 seconds. Alex Len was +14 in 4 minutes tonight. I did think that was strange. The Kings were getting killed on the glass the second Sabonis fouled out. I understand why. Mike Brown did that in that moment. I mean, I think at that point you're just thinking Alex is not one of our best. You know, Trey is a better player than Alex Len is, and you just hope that going small in that moment brings more positives than, of course, the natural negative of, you know, running a smaller lineup. And I think it was just unfortunate that it ended up being, they kind of got killed because they were so small out there, gave up a couple offensive rebounds, weren't able to secure some defense or some offensive rebounds of their own as well. Probably in hindsight should have gone Alex Len there. But again, I think that a lot of people in that time would probably end up leaning more towards Trey Lyles in that moment, who did have a pretty good game. It's not like Trey was cold like he's really been these past, really since the All-Star break. Trey has been pretty tough. Yeah. I'm struggling to. Yeah, so actually, funny enough, my co-host, Alan Stiles, tweeted out the same thing 18 minutes ago. He said, I'm struggling to give Mike Brown too much blame because to blame a coach, I need reasons to correlate to the game plan rotations or decisions mid-game. Based on those things, where did coach fail? And let's just read some of the comments here. Not having Fox or Sabonis on the court for that stretch, that broke the lead from 20 to 10. Weird double teams to guard at the top that never work and always open passes for other guys in easy lanes. That's blitzing. I mean, you kind of had to do that because DeMar DeRozan was just going absolutely insane and you're trying to get the ball out of his hands. Not like this is a one-off. Too many times they have blown big leads or lost to teams that they are heavily favored against. At some point, he has to take some blame for lack of urgency to close teams out in the fourth quarter. And Alan says, not sure how he can fix that, which we must be spending too much time together, because that's exactly what I would say too, is just blown leads in the fourth. Like, you can call timeouts. At the end of the day, fourth quarter is kind of that's where the players make their money. That's time to execute. That's time where it's really, you kind of throw out the game plan, you throw out any schemes you had, and it just kind of becomes one-on-one basketball. And it's about the Jimmies and Joes at that point. So I would kind of say that's more on the players, honestly. And I'm seriously not trying to blame shift at all. I just really think that a lot of these things are on the players, and I think that coaches get blamed a lot in today's game, when really they just, they're honestly a lot more like, they're kind of a lot more like baseball managers in a way than football coaches, because like football coaches, they impact every single play. You know, you're calling the plays, you're setting up the schemes, you have your hands all over what is actively happening on the field. You know, again, like a head basketball coach, a lot of your work is done in practice and getting these guys ready. Of course, you set the scheme, you set what kind of system you're going to run, but at the end of the day, like come game day, you're that's why, teams talk about game plans all the time, because that's really the last time the coach can give his input before the actual game starts. Because once the game starts, it's just your players going out there and executing. So Mike Brown, in my opinion, unless you just say, wow, the Kings, and I think the commenter did say here, like, seeming unready or unprepared or a lack of urgency, I would say that fits for coaching. That definitely is a coaching decision. If you just feel like, man, again, like if you just feel like it's egregious that Keegan Murray's guarding DeMar DeRozan, that's 100% coaching. Keegan getting cooked repeatedly by DeMar DeRozan, and not saying that happened, but that would be, like, in my eyes, that would be more on the player. Like, what is Mike Brown supposed to do? He's only got two forwards out there, HB or Keegan, and he might have picked the wrong one, but I don't think the other one would have done much better. He could have called the timeout on that Fox failed inbound pass. He definitely could have, sure. Little nitpicky, but you just, like, that was an after timeout play. You kind of hope that you guys could execute that. Plus, then the Kings would have been completely out of timeouts. Didn't like going small. Lyles hesitated to shoot those threes. That's fair, but again, that's more preference and hindsight being a bit 2020. And shout out friend of every show, Jill Adge, who is the best. Using a lineup without Fox and Sabonis, that took away their lead. I think that's the consensus. And I think that it was something that Mike Brown has not done really all year long. And I think after tonight, I would be shocked if he does it again. So I would definitely blame that on Mike Brown. Sure. 100%. I think he gets, he would rightfully get some blame for going without Fox or Sabonis, because that just doesn't make much sense. But, the Kings were also up 20 at that point in the game. I think it's not crazy to say, hey, if I can go without Fox and Sabonis here, there's a possibility I don't have to play them at all in the fourth quarter. If we can get a 25-point lead, maybe Fox and Sabonis wouldn't have to play the fourth quarter at all. And so that's maybe the thought process there, because the Kings do have a back-to-back here Wednesday and Thursday. They play in LA on Wednesday, fly back to Sacramento to play San Antonio on Thursday. So maybe Mike Brown was just trying to get his guys some rest there, and ended up biting him in the butt. But that's really all I got for today. Just such a strange game. I cannot believe the Kings didn't win this one. But that's just kind of how it goes. So we'll talk again on Wednesday after the Lakers game. That'll be a 7:30 tip, so it'll be a later stream that night. And again, hope everybody takes some time away from this team, takes some time away from the roller coaster, and just enjoys life, because it's going to get really crazy down the stretch here, down March, and especially in April. Things are going to get bananas. So definitely just relax, just chill out, enjoy yourself, and don't enjoy this loss, because this one was just a tough one. And I really hope that we can stop talking about games like this. Kings lose tonight, 113-109 here at Golden One Center. Colby White has a shocker. Just an incredible game, 37 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. De'Aaron Fox, double-double, 20 points, 10 assists, only 1 point and 1 assist in that fourth quarter. Domantas Sabonis fouls out. He gets his 43rd consecutive double-double of the season. Absolutely ridiculous. Y'all have a fantastic night. Have a good one. Check me out tomorrow, Styles and Watkins, 10 to 2, right here at Sactown Sports 1140. If you can't check that out, definitely we'll see you Wednesday after that Laker game. And then again on Thursday, we're going to be back here in Golden One Center to see Victor Wembanyama. See y'all later. Peace.